It's a BumbleKast Mini, sponsored by Nova Poly Duo.
Regarding the power of Supersonic going off of the power in Sonic Frontiers, would you say that Super Shadow and Super Silver could have that same level of power? We see that Shadow's capabilities, without burning through energy reserves in his super state, increased between Sonic Adventure 2 and Shadow the Hedgehog, while Silver practically grew and then some in Generations' power set compared to 06. Would Shadow be throwing out chaos moves like a living heavy Gatling gun?
I mean, you compare Frontiers Supersonic to any previous incarnation, and it's like, whoa, dude, you stepped up your game. And is that a question of him just not holding back? Or is this a boost in power? I don't know. It will really have to see what the next Supersonic gameplay is to get any kind of baseline. That being said, to imagine the spectacle of what a Super Shadow or Super Silver would pull in Frontiers, ye gods. Super Silver would just pick up Giganto, fly over, and beat Wyvern with it. You know? Just whoop, tear it apart, throw the pieces at the others. Good. He'd put like a Thanos on the end and just reach out and pull it down into the earth.
I just want to see Super Amy go full Dominion Rod on Giganto and just launch him like hundreds of feet into the air and just oh man, glorious.
I mean, Frontier Supersonic has set a standard that I don't know how it's going to be followed up on. So I can't even begin to speculate on where the others will fall after this.
Oh boy, it should be fun. It should be fun. I feel like this needs to be put to bed, and the only one who can answer it is you, I feel. Is Shadow's... dubious. Is Shadow's speed natural, or is it really just from his air shoes? I'm led to believe it's natural, since like Sonic, he can spin dash as fast as Sonic, and can even use the light speed attack without upgrades like Sonic post SA2. While Zombot Shadow is definitively slower than his regular speed, he's still considered faster than any regular Zombot. I've seen many arguments in the opposition regarding his boost being an example against this, but I figure a definitive answer can be found here.
I am sorry to disappoint, but I am not even going to attempt to word of God this one, because I'm not sure myself. It would make sense that it is the air shoes since they are propelling him, in which case, why even, if he's got natural sonic speed, why use air shoes? You can just run. But on the other hand, all the gameplay seems to dictate that he can perform just as well in Sonic in any regard. So it might be, it's a little bit of both, but I cannot say for certain.
The air shoes are cool, and as we've established, Shadow believes he's the coolest, so that's why. That is why. Pretty sure. He just wants to be cool.
I mean, that works for me.
I don't know. Looking at how Frontiers confirmed Team Sonic Racing canon to the modern continuity, I have to ask, is the events from Sonic Colors DS the canon one, since Mother Wisp is in the game as the one generating the tracks for a stage? Or is it just a don't worry, be happy kind of thing, where the events more or less happen in a way that both endings are canon?
It is canon enough. I'd have to go back and look at Colors DS, but I'm pretty sure you still have the fight with the Nega Wisp mecha. It's just that the Supersonic fight is the bonus finale against Nega Mother Wisp. I can't say that with 100% certainty. I'd have to research it again, but I'm pretty sure that's how it plays out. Ultimately, insofar as there was a Mother Wisp and Supersonic reverted her back to normal, yes, that is part of the greater lore. Now, whether all the other characters showed up at the amusement park as it does in DS or not, that I think is a bit fuzzy, but it's also not mission critical to the core elements of the story.
I've always been curious, seeing as how Shadow seemingly is immortal through the means of both Gerald's research and Black Doom's DNA, if not ageless, very likely to be near exponentially long-lived compared to all the Sonic cast, bar Omega. Would there ever possibly be a future Shadow, like a Days of Future Past Wolverine or Old Man Logan's namesake?
God, I wish.
That would be kind of cool.
I mean, it's right there.
Everyone else is dead except him. He's the only one left still. Then again, it would just be, it could be in Silver's future. He finally reaches Silver.
Like, can Silver find a 200-year-old Shadow? Does Shadow remember what has happened, each time? Has he mellowed out? Is he more embittered? Oh, there's so many ways you could play with it. But Sega is not particularly fond at showing the passage of time, which is difficult to do when you have a series that builds upon itself narratively. But so I don't think we'd ever get a chance to see that, but boy, howdy, would it be fun.
I mean, if they consider just showing like an alternate universe, Elseworlds sort of thing and doing it that way, I mean...
Yeah, that's a hard sell from my experience.
I know, but there's ways to do it without ruining...
There is.
You don't have to ruin your current timeline, your current non-existent timeline. Well, as long as Shadow's played by Hugh Jackman, we're good.
Oh, dude.
That would be... I don't know, that would actually be pretty good. I'd watch it. We've been here before with IDW in the main cast. We're here once again, but with a different flavor. Favorite anime, but now it's the Archie cast. What are the favorite animes for our freedom fighters? And does Sally have the full series of her favorite downloaded directly onto Nicole for the occasional solo binge and or watch-alongs with Nicole, assuming that on download, Nicole doesn't immediately know the episodes ahead of Sally?
Just because she has the data doesn't mean she's accessed it,
Yeah.
Sally, I don't know, I'm going to say old school Sailor Moon. The story of somebody thrust into a position of power, having to organize all these colorful, powerful people together for a common goal when they themselves don't quite know what they're doing. I think she'd find a lot of parallels and enjoy that. Nicole, big into Digimon, world of the living, world of the digital coming together as one to do great justice. She really gets in sync with that. Rotor is all about OG Gundam. Before they get into that new type nonsense, psychic powers, what do you want about? No. Give him the real nuts and bolts, quite literally, of these mobile war machines. He's all about it. Bunny's into Trigun. Doesn't matter that Vash actually is kind of cybernetic. It's just fun. She thinks it's funny.
I mean, yeah.
And I meant to look this up before, but...
Apparently new types were in the original Gundam, so...
I thought they were in the original Gundam. Like, it was after they get on white base and whatnot.
Oh, I don't know. You're asking the wrong person. I'm just reporting what I'm told.
Okay. Antoine would be all about any one of those, like, pure eye candy cooking anime.
Oh. Okay. And was there anyone else? I guess those are the main freedom fighters.
That's the core team.
Yeah. I guess we'll stick with that. Oh, I guess there's Dulcie.
I guess there's Dulcie.
Hey! Sorry, Dulcie fans. All two of you.
Why do I feel like I'm blanking? There should be, like, tons of cool dragon anime out there, but I can't think of any off the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't know. She doesn't have to be into dragon anime. Maybe she just likes Hamtaro.
Yes, that is the correct answer. She loves Hamtaro.
I don't know.
No. You are absolutely right. I was a fool for blanking out on it. You are dead on.
I've never seen Hamtaro, but here we are. Regarding Mega Man X, do you and Kyle have any specific group of Mavericks you're partial to, like the original 8 from X1 / Maverick Hunter X, Rebel Force from X4, or Doppler's units from X3? I'm personally partial to the X6 Nightmare Investigator group, since they were all good Reploids that were destroyed via sabotaging from the good side of history, but resurrected for less than savory means. Part of me also wonders how you'd have potentially written Gates' downfall if you did write a Mega Man X6 story retelling.
I'd honestly have to go back and, like, dig deep into them again. I'm partial to X1, but that's mostly because that's what I'm more familiar with.
Yeah.
I'm kind of drawn to why the hunters went with Sigma for their varying reasons.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Storm Eagle didn't want to, but he was forced into it. Whereas Flame Mammoth is an absolute jerk. So yeah, he went along with it. And that alone I find fascinating.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of that reoccurring, like the tragedy of the Repliforce blow up in X4, everything you mentioned in X6. With Gate and a lot of the retroactive continuity they added in the later X games, again, I'd have to do a lot of research beforehand and make sure that it was seeded well in the earlier things.
Yeah. I kind of like Repliforce just as they're not evil, really, not in the same way as the virus-infected Mavericks. It's like, so it's a bit more of a gray area with them. I mean, unfortunately, the presentation leaves a little bit to be desired in terms of storytelling at that time, at least. But I think they're probably the most interesting to me in terms of just being something a little bit different. So expanding the world beyond just the black and white morality. All right, there we go. What if number? I lost count. The whatening. IDW somehow managed to get the reins on the publishing license back on Transformers for a full 2 years, but they have to reboot it again, and you're the one in the head writer's seat. How would you handle the story of how the Autobots waged their battle to defeat the evil forces of the Decepticons? Would the curly straw be the crux of this war like the IDW version 1?
I really like your wording of that. Most excellent. I don't know, because I was never super big into Transformers, so I'm not as well educated on the lore, but that might be a good thing in this scenario, to have a truly fresh take on it without being beholden to all the tropes and what's done before and, you know, playing to older ideas. Although Curly Straw must absolutely be the crux of the fall of all of civilization.
Yep.
I don't know. I think part of what I'd want to do is explore the transformations itself. I know that's been touched upon in different iterations, that they are robotic beings first and vehicles a distant second. That's more like happenstance, I think.
Yeah.
But explore that maybe in a new direction. And I don't know, like, why do they come to Earth? Is, like, from what I remember of G1, they just happened to crash on Earth. That was just like one big kerfluffle that happened to go there, and then they picked up the pieces and continued fighting. What if Earth is like the last foothold for either side? That could make an interesting fight. Like, are the Decepticons claiming Earth as their final beachhead, trying to push back against the Autobots, or have the Autobots lost so much territory that they're now on this backwater planet trying to find a foothold so that they can restore their own world? Except, oops, there's other sentient life here. They have to be extra careful. Crap.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's already been done. I don't know. But that might be one way to approach it.
Well, as long as the curly straw is there, that's all that matters. After looking at the design philosophy of making Sonic toys from Jazzwares and Jakks Pacific, I'm curious if you could have any toy company, no matter the region, make a higher-end collector series of posable figures around your $60 SH Figure Arts figure for a basic lower-end starting amount, or it could cost more. For Sonic, with things like alternate hands, alternate eyes/faces, accessories for each game, effects parts for things like boosts, standing for aerial poses, etc. Which toy company would you want to make this hypothetical set of figures? It sounds expensive.
Yeah, and I'm not really familiar with toy manufacturers. Like, Fig Arts is the one that I know by name, and that's about it. So
I'm getting a good suggestion here that I like.
All right.
Bandai model kits for the E-Series robots.
Oh,
that would be cool. Yeah.
Ooh,
not bad.
Okay.
Not a bad one. Not a bad suggestion.
I like that a lot.
Bad Nickpla instead of Gunpla.
You even go the extra mile and have like little animals that you can fit inside that you would never actually see once the model's complete.
Well,
but you know it's there.
Of course. That's the most important part. Dude, that would be awesome. Yeah, I appreciate that suggestion for
I think
sure.
that's the right answer.
I think so. Very nice. Very nice.
I mean, even go on to do some of the end boss egg mechs. Death Egg Robot, even though we've seen it 100 times.
I know.
Building it yourself. Egg Dragoon.
Egg
even
Emperor.
the Egg Wyvern. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Gunpla style metal Sonic.
Oh, all the metals.
Neo Metal Sonic. Yeah. Oh, man.
All of Tails' various vehicles, each incarnation of the tornado.
The
Cyclone. Yeah. Well, dude, what if you actually built the Tornado 2 in such a fashion that you could transform it into the Cyclone?
Uh-huh. Yes, please.
Oh, my God.
The egg carrier, yes. Oh, man, that would be cool. I mean, Death Egg seems obvious, but still, it would be huge, but still. Amazing.
Death Egg is so uniform. I don't know. That one I see more like the old Technodrome out of the Ninja Turtles line. Make it a play set. Very simple.
Mean, yeah.
Crack it open and play your normal little figures in there. But yeah, the egg carrier. And that too, have it transform from its normal mode to its battle mode.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm down.
Also wouldn't mind, this might be going outside of the purview of what Nova's asking about, but like end boss encounter diorama sets. So like, let's say there's a Shadow the Hedgehog one and Devil Doom is the centerpiece that you kind of construct and pose, and then Super Shadow is a smaller figurine that you can arrange in different positions around, so you can set up different battle shots. Perfect Chaos, Metal Overlord, all those kinds of fights.
Frontiers, all those fights. God, that would be ridiculous. This is
or
like
just Gunpla of the Titans, you know?
Yeah. Bio-Lizard. Oh, man. This is a very expensive hobby.
You get a different room in your house just to put it all. I see you're taking out a mortgage for Sonic toys. Let me show you the catalog. I see. Approved.
The Sonic Shrine Room. Worship at the altar of the hedgehog. Oh, man. That would be so cool, though. So cool. When we last left off on Starline's Isekai from Hell and My Mini, he somehow died in the care of Dr. Kintelbor. Not from Kintelbor's trying, mind you. And now on his hellish Isekai, he's somehow gone all the way from time and space to end up arriving in the presence of Dr. Eggman and Nega, pre-being stuck in the Ifrit dimension. How does Starline take in this Eggman as the son of his idol? And how long does it take before he's sent back to the Isekai Void to then be placed into another deathly misadventure? I'm so glad this is Starline's fate now. He's not dead. He's just going on increasingly insane adventures across the multiverse.
I feel like he would and Nega would get along great initially because they are both lamenting the state of the Eggman name and the historical significance of it, and how, if they just change this one thing, if they could only get Ivo to see the light, how much greater it could be. And so they begin plotting and planning as they do, except Starline, has his own ideas of what is right and how to fix things. And there's only so much of him criticizing the Eggman line that Nega is going to tolerate. Like, Nega doesn't like it either, but it's his line to criticize, not some poofy shirt upstart. So eventually Starline says something that irks him one too many times, and, Nega Isekai Starline, and the adventure begins anew.
Quackdom leap. All right, one more question. For someone who's been spending time writing, I ask as a learner from the Bumble King himself, how would one go about establishing their own series Bible? I've been working on something, but I admittedly am not sure how to properly collect my thoughts without having already contradicting content I'd written down previously. Any recommendations?
All right. So, number one, start off with the most pertinent information, your core cast, your core settings, your core themes, and make sure that is all nailed down as a quick reference to yourself. Don't get too hung up on the language of it or the tone of it, because this is for you. Unless you're planning on making this a ancillary product, but you can always clean it up later. This is your reference to yourself. Then have stuff for the extended cast, for your series history, for the rules of whatever magic system you might have, or whatever nuances come about with your story. Like, is there a particular type of tech? Are you fantastical? Are you sci-fi? How hard is your sci-fi? How hard is your magic system? If it's more down to earth, how are there any discrepancies with real world history, or are you not concerned about that? Note this down. Now, when it comes to contradictions, here comes the ugly head of revision. If there is something that you find works better as you're compiling your series Bible, then you're going to have to go back and revise what you did. It may be done, but unless it's published, you go back and you change it because you found a better way, and that sucks, and I know it, and I'm sorry. If it's not published yet, you're good. If it is already published, well, the guide serves as a reminder of what you have done. And now that you have it written and published, it's locked in. You have to adjust your guide to match that. And from there, you can map out what your fallout from that is. You have set your standard twice over now. How does your story evolve from that?
Yeah. I guess don't be afraid to change things if needed.
Right.
So, but you just have to remember to change them and remember those changes. So.
And if you have multiple versions of this document, date them. Date your changes, because it's incredibly frustrating when you go back to an older idea and you don't know when you thought of that. Or if it's so old that why do you even hold on to it anymore? Just make sure that you have timestamps for this stuff, so you're not repeating past mistakes, or if you feel like you forgot something, but really you just came up with it yesterday and it kind of slipped your mind. Be ready to compare and contrast where you've been. And some of these old ideas may work better than what you've come up with and you forgot about, in which case, edit it out. Bring that old stuff back if it works better. Or if you're looking at the old stuff and going, I really liked where that was going, but this new direction works better. Let the past die. Kill it if you have to. Go with your new direction.
I'm receiving a question. Is there anything on the Bumble King website that's like a template or something for this? That's the question.
No, there is not. I do not have a particular template myself, but it really kind of comes down to your project, because something that is grand and sweeping is going to need a much larger document, whereas something more intimate isn't going to need something as robust. So it really needs to come down to what your needs are. But again, I would focus on core elements of the immediate story first, and then break down your greater lore elements, your timeline, your world, your lore rules for the series, etc., etc. Look at some of the questions you would be asking yourself about your own series, whether it be the tech or the magic or the species or the history or what have you, and see how you can group those into larger categories and then break it down from there.
Yeah. So the outline I have that you and I worked on a long time ago basically just gives the basic timeline, the world, and a description of the primary setting, the technology of this world, and the cast. So, and then an overall basic kind of story idea. So, yeah, that's kind of what the overall layout was for at least that one. So, but there might be different requirements for different projects too. So,
yeah,
but just to give you kind of an idea.
One way you can organize it too is like, look at the cast, the characters that you're using. Your immediate heading would be characters.
Yeah.
And then your first subheading would be core cast.
Mm-hmm.
And then, supporting cast and then extended cast. And then within the core cast, as you give the brief biography, brief description of who they are, what they're doing, what their goals are, key relationships. So this other character, they are friends. This other character, romantic interest. This other character, whatever. Just quick bite-sized info. You're building your own wiki, basically. So make sure that it's a reference for yourself and not the Cimmerillion.
Yeah, I guess. I suppose. Unless you really want to go searching through that much text.
I mean, to me, once you've completed your series Bible, then that's just the rough draft for your own Cimmerillion, and then you can go nuts.
Yeah. All right. Is that all we got?
It is. Thank you to Nova Poly Duo for sponsoring this episode. If you want a BumbleKast Mini of your own, head over to patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, or become a YouTube member.
See you next time.